What are you talking about?
Hand mixer.
I'm gonna use just my whisk for this one, but thank you. All right, here we go. Hello friends, and welcome back to Rachel's Baking Corner. Today we are going to be preparing the best brownie recipe ever, in my personal opinion. I am a sucker for a good cakey, fudgy brownie, and that's exactly what this recipe does for me, is it gives me the best cakey, fudgy, delicious brownie ever. This is a tried and true recipe. I have done this recipe like 4 or 5 times. It takes next to no effort to make, and it's perfect every single time. So without further ado, let's get on with it. When it comes to ingredients, you're gonna need a half of a cup of all-purpose flour, a fourth of a teaspoon of salt, and a fourth of a teaspoon of baking powder. I put all of that in one bowl here. 2 eggs with a teaspoon of vanilla, 1 cup of granulated sugar, half of a stick of butter melted, and a third of a cup of cocoa powder. You could use Dutch process, you could use regular cocoa powder, you could use cacao powder if you felt like it. I'm just using the good old-fashioned unsweetened cocoa powder, you know, the like Kroger brand one. And then I personally like to add a fourth of a cup to a half of a cup of chocolate chips to mine. So it's suspended in the batter and it just adds these little pockets of molten chocolatey goodness. Typically you would want to use a square like brownie pan. I think it's like a 6x9 brownie pan. Instead, I'm using a round cake pan because my friend has my brownie pan and I totally forgot. And I think I gave it to her in like the summer when I made her brownies once for her birthday. But alas, round, square does not make a difference. I am going to be doing the good old-fashioned whisk and elbow grease today because I really want to show you how stinking easy this recipe is, because it is foolproof, it's dumb-proof, it's great. I just love this recipe. So let's get on with it, shall we? First things first, we're going to get our butter and pour it into our bowl, and our sugar. So just like you would do with like a cookie recipe, you want to start with the butter and sugar to get a nice bit of emulsification going. In this case, it might dissolve the sugar slightly. We're just going to whisk that together. Now we're going to add the eggs and the vanilla. That's 2 eggs and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and mix that together. If you had a child, this would be a really fun recipe to do with a kiddo because it's very easy, and also you can make the child do all the work because that's what kids are for, right? Manual labor. Oh, we've got a really, really light and silky mix going on here. Next, we're gonna add the cocoa powder. Just sprinkle that in there and get that melted in. Take your time because you don't want to have a big mess on your hands. Cocoa powder is very fine, so it'll really waft up into the air. There we go. All right, so just until that's mixed. And let's get our dry ingredients mixed together. We want those active ingredients suspended in the flour. All right, get that in there. And mixy mixy. Once again, take your time. I mean, come on, does not get any easier than this. As always, I will have this recipe linked in the description below so that if you want to make this yourself, you have that to reference. Okay. I'm sorry, but why buy brownies when you can make them so easily? And you can eat the batter in the meantime. All right. Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy.
All right, last but not least, chocolate chips. Blop them in there. Give it one final good stir. Quick tip for you. Spray your cooking spray in your pan, a good amount. Get a dry paper towel and just go over it once with that dry paper towel to make sure you've got a nice even coating on the bottom without having too much oil in there. With your parchment paper. And there you go. That way you don't have an oily brownie and also a brownie that it won't stick to the pan. We shall pour. This will be a little difficult because this bowl is humongous. Oh, such a thick chocolatey batter. I just love it. With that extra chocolate chips in there. Oh, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. We're gonna spread this out so it's in a nice even layer in our pan. And then we're gonna get it into a 350-degree oven, and it will bake for 25 to 30 minutes until the edges start to pull away slightly from the pan and you've got a nice, I don't wanna say skin, but you know what I mean, that signature skin on top of the brownie. Nice and shiny and pretty and crackly and delicious. You know what I mean. Pound it. That way it's all set. Okay, I'm gonna throw this into my 350-degree oven and I will be back in about 35-40 minutes, okay? Because it bakes for 25 to 30 minutes and then I'm gonna let it sit for like 10 minutes, just to clarify. See you then. And we're back with brownies. This is such an easy recipe and it baked up, actually it took the full 30 minutes versus 25 minutes, but it baked up beautifully. I went ahead and topped it with a little bit of powdered sugar because that's how we ate brownies growing up. And then I gave it a slice and now I'm ready to try it. Yeah? Let me get a little bit closer. One second. This is still piping hot. I pulled it out of the oven and cut it pretty soon. I probably should have waited a little longer, but I can't help myself. So let's give this a taste. I think powdered sugar should go on top of all brownies. It's a really good contrast in flavor. It's fudgy, it's cakey, it's crispy on the edges. Got the chocolate chips in there. So good, so good. These are so stinking good. These are perfect every single time. They're just so chocolatey and fudgy, they melt in your mouth. I totally forgot my favorite, walnuts or pecans. Chopped up, toasted, chopped up and tossed in here would be so stinking good, especially with those chocolate chips. You could toss in peanut butter chips, white chocolate, nuts, anything. Oh my gosh, you could add peanut butter to this, white chocolate. I'm going in circles now. You could do so much with this recipe and it turns out so stinking good every time. Every time. This has been a perfect recipe. Turned out perfect every time. So I really hope you liked this video. Please leave a like if you did. Comment down below if there's any recipes you'd like me to try. And subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you next week with a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. I love you. Mwah. Bye. See you soon.